Dude.
Fuck off.
You got a copy of that one B movie with Ryan Felipe with the shotgun? Deadly Invasion?
Yeah, I'm not doing anything. Yeah, I can work on your problems.
Are you listening?
Ryan Felipe shooting the fuck out of fucking bees. Yeah, I know the movie.
Do we have it?
That movie is $175 fucking dollars on Amazon.
One of the Patreons requested that I review a B movie. And that's
Will any B movie work?
Maybe.
3B video and maybe any B movie will work. Not like a B movie, but like a bzzz movie. Zombies?
I believe so.
Ah, you pawing my leg?
I think you get the point. The real stinger is that I guess it doesn't matter what B movie we review. I'm gonna go work up front. Why don't you look around in the inventory, see if you can come up with a B movie that will work.
Don't worry, Raj. I won't let you down.
I've heard that so many fucking times.
Evil here, 3B video, back room. To do a special thing for you today. Today, it's patron review selection time. What are we doing today is a patron request review. Which patron? Remix, because Remix is, he's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. So what's the Remix want us to review today? The Bees! Nah, I'm just pawing your leg. Remix wouldn't pick something like that. Of course, Remix would pick the B movie. So here at 3B video, we hit you with a real stinger. We're going to talk about a B movie. I think I may have just hit you with a shit ton of puns, but man, that probably doesn't even cover 1/16 of how many puns are in this fucking movie. Good God Almighty, as good old JR would say, this is something. First thing I have to say after watching this movie, because we happen to have it in the collection here at 3B video, this is going to be a much better movie to watch. This one has, John Saxon in it. This has the, film debut, like big, since the series ended for Jerry Seinfeld to come out with a movie. And this is what he decided to do, is a B movie, which tells the story of a bee who drives a fucking car. And not just him. Apparently in a beehive you have bee cars, bee jobs, bee newspapers, bee mass killings. Honey apparently can be almost a catch-all, a miracle thing that they produce, because honey is used in this film to not only fuel cars, IV, it is used in a water park slide, it's used in a pool, they use it for mouthwash, toothpaste, hair gel. Somebody definitely sold them something like this, a catch-all. It'll carry everything. It'll carry everything you got. This is what'll do it right here. Brush your teeth with it, fill your car with it, swim around in it. If you're dying, pop that shit into your arm. It'll help you out. Before we get into our overall thoughts of the film, a B movie, not the bees, much better, but the B movie, overall thoughts and opinions, let's take a look at... Just fucking with you. I'm not Rotten Roger. I don't do splatter facts. That shit's stupid. I don't do any of that stuff. Plus, what the hell am I gonna say happens in this movie? There are no splatter facts. There's nothing in this but bees, bee puns, a plot that I have no idea what's going on, and shitloads of honey. That's all that happens in this movie. So in this movie, we follow the life of this one particular bee played by Jerry Seinfeld. I could not retain any character names because I was just like, that's Jerry Seinfeld. That's this character. That's that character. Oh, that's Matthew Broderick. I can't distinguish any of these characters' names. I didn't, even after watching it and then listening to 2 podcasts about it, I did not retain any names. I just retained the stars' names. But Jerry Seinfeld is a bee we follow growing up, determine what he wants to, figure out what he wants to do for work, which is a for-life job. And you think this movie's gonna go like this different way. It goes all over the place. So, he's going for job orientation, and of course he sees these, I thought I would just call them the pollinators. Super, like, thick bees that do all the pollination work. He's like, man, I'd love to be one of those. Of course, he's a scrawny little fucker bee, looking up at these, like, testosterone, steroid-infused bees that do all the pollinating. So you think the movie's gonna be him trying to prove himself to join this crew, and he's gonna end with him being a part of that crew. That does happen, but man, do they take a whole lot of left, right, and left again turns all throughout the story. Because on one of his outings with these bees to kind of get a feel for things, he goes out of the hive for the first time, gets separated, avoids death, at an insane rate between tennis balls and car engines and getting stuck inside an apartment. And apparently the first rule of a bee fight club is you don't talk to humans. Seinfeld says fuck that shit. He gets stuck in a house, he's gonna start talking to this chick. Starts talking to a female, grown, human woman. And she doesn't think really twice about it. She's just like, that bee's fucking talking to me. What's up, bee? How are you doing? And forms a relationship with this bee. And this fucking bee falls in love, essentially, with a human woman. There's a whole lot of weird incestual things going on, because they mention that all the bees are related, distant cousins of sorts, so that's gross. And you have references later where bees are hooking up with other insects, weird. And now we have the ultimate interspecies erotica with a bee that's absolutely enthralled with this human woman who happens to run a flower shop. Of course she runs a flower shop. Essentially, after hanging out with this woman, becoming enthralled, she ends up letting him in on the knowledge that apparently is groundbreaking knowledge. No bee knows their honey is being harvested by humans, which in reality is a real like major industry, and without bees we would kind of really be fucked, which they do tell later on in the movie in a weird sort of way. Seinfeld finds out they're taking honey, they're making honey. Ray Liotta, of all people, has a whiskey branded type honey. It's not whiskey branded, but it's like his private select honey. Like, honey is that hardcore. Everyone has gone to the grocery store. You've seen the honey in the aisle on the shelf. It's what? One section, maybe 3 shelves high of different types of honey. That's it. That's including the holy shit all natural honey to the I can't believe it's not honey. And Ray Liotta has a private select. I have no idea what that costs and how Ray Liotta gets into the honey business and what his private select honey brands cost. Are celebrities like using this shit the same way bees are? Are they hooking it up to IVs? Are they clanging together bottles of Ray Liotta's select brand honey and pouring it on themselves? Is it essentially Cristal in this universe? Jerry B. Benson Seinfeld, B-Man, gets so upset by this that he is going to formulate a lawsuit against humanity. Walks a weird line of being like, we are slaves for the white man. Literally a line is in the movie is they are slaves for the white man. But they're suing humankind because they feel enslaved to making honey that they're taking and harvesting and using for maybe a third of the uses that the bees are using this shit for. So then it goes into, of all things, now a trial lawsuit, a court movie. So the bees end up winning this lawsuit against humanity. The world is going to start almost ending because, well, they're not pollinating and, you know, there's no interaction between humans and bees now. So it's like bees are essentially almost killing humankind. So from that, we jump to our love interest, human woman, who is on a plane. Plane's gonna start to crash. Of course, we have our B hero, our B movie hero, Seinfeld, there on the plane. Somehow gets information down to his hive of bees, to where this hive of bees comes and swarms the bottom of this plane and uses almost like 2 giant hands to like help land this craft. An aircraft, a full fucking plane with passengers, is getting landed by one hive of bees that's underneath it. Figure that logic out, right? Fucking bee this big, but apparently 300 million of them are gonna land a fucking plane. Again, I wish I was watching this movie instead. This is a much more entertaining film. There's actually a trial of sort in this movie too, but that is more believable for some reason and easier to follow logic film than what happens in this movie. They go out and they snipe Winnie the Pooh. Like, all of a sudden, Seinfeld is running a SWAT team mission to kill Winnie the Pooh. That happens also in this movie. Everyone is safe. They decide, all right, you have to work as a team, which at least I guess that's a good concept to come out the end of it, because there's a lot of weird, questionable shit between interspecies erotica, their stingers are their dicks, he's sharpening that stinger inside of a pencil sharpener, slavery, and then harvesting of all this honey and stuff. Well, we have to work together as a team, which hopefully if your kids are watching, that's the only thing they take out of this movie, if they're not completely confused and being like, wow, this thing is all over the place. Maybe that's why it's like how it is. Kids have a real short attention span, so if we all of a sudden switch to having a court drama where they bring a fucking bear into the court, to having them in a plane catastrophe, to having it a love story between a bee and a human, to having the human significant other try to physically assault and murder this bee in their house because he feels threatened by a bee. A grown man feels threatened by a bee moving in on his woman. Yeah, and it ends where it should have originally been the whole story, I think, from the beginning, is just him trying to be one of these pollinators. And it ends with him having his fucking custom jacket, and he's now a pollinator, which they don't do physically. They have these fucking guns that they pollinate flowers with, which is all this stuff. It's like, I get it's a kid's movie, but it's like, I couldn't imagine if my kids were super into a bee movie, and then I had to explain, look, bees don't have guns that they pollinate flowers with. They don't fucking drive cars. Their hives are not little worlds onto themselves where they have newspapers, pizza shops, and mass killings, which there is in the background a news article about a mass killing of a bee who stings so many people than himself. I can't imagine the people who cameoed for this having a reaction much like Al Pacino in Jack and Jill when he did his Dunkachino bit. Sting, Ray Liotta, Seinfeld, all these people went to the premiere and went, this is good. 4 people wrote this, and you can kind of tell because I feel like one person wrote it and he threw it to the second guy, and he wrote some of his own story and threw to the third guy. He wrote his own bit, threw to the fourth guy. Oh man, maybe he called out 6, so the first guy got it back and finished the story he started with on it. 4 writers, 2007, a bee movie. That's a movie that happened. Big thanks to Remix for not suggesting this bee movie, but instead we watched the bee movie. And inside 3B video, this bee movie is a movie. This bees movie is the movie. If you have a chance, pick up The Bees from Vinegar Syndrome. Much more entertaining court drama movie that is, I would almost say, a little bit ripped off in this movie and put through the Pixar DreamWorks format. Let me know, and let Roger know in comments if there's anyone who actually still is like, bee movie, grew up on that shit. You're not old enough to be watching this channel, I don't think. Maybe you are, though. Maybe I'm just getting older and people are just growing up in years where I remember what happened in those years. Thanks, Remix. I mean, you Remix. That's a bee movie. I just reviewed a bee movie. What am I doing here? Why am I doing this here? Why'd I agree to this? Why? Why? Why would I do this? Why did I do this? What have I become? Anyways, bye!